The buzzing of the electric razor cut through the air like a blade, sharp and merciless. Harper Quinn froze in the velvet chair, her hands instinctively covering her 7-month belly as a circle of perfectly manicured women closed in on her. Their laughter was soft, elegant, poisonous, like champagne hiding cyanide. The mirrored walls of the Caldwell Beauty Lounge reflected everything. The gold fixtures, the Beverly Hills luxury, and Harper's terror. "Relax, Harper," Marissa Caldwell cooed, her voice dripping honey and venom. "It's just a makeover for the family vlog. You want to look perfect for Damon's big announcement tonight, don't you?" Harper forced a shaky smile. I thought we were just doing light styling." Marissa smirked. "Sweetheart, sometimes the best transformations are the unexpected ones." Before Harper could react, 2 women pressed gently, too gently on her shoulders. The razor hummed louder. Her breath hitched. She could already feel her heart climbing into her throat. "Please," Harper whispered. "I'm dizzy. I don't feel right. Can we stop?" But her plea was swallowed by laughter. "Hold still," Marissa said. "You're ruining my lighting." Then click. The razor touched her scalp, a cold vibration, a soft tearing sound. A chunk of her chestnut hair drifted down her shoulder and onto her dress. Harper gasped, a hand flying to her mouth. No, please, I'm pregnant, stop, please stop." "With 3 tests enough." "Oh, lighten up," another voice said. "It's not like you had much going for you anyway." Their phones were out now, recording, streaming, capturing her humiliation in 4K. Harper shut her eyes as another fistful of hair fell. Her stomach tightened, her vision blurred. She could hear her pulse pounding in her ears. The room spun. She felt the heat of tears sliding down her cheeks. Somewhere in the distance, someone gasped. "What was that noise?" a woman whispered. Footsteps echoed down the hall, heavy, purposeful, unfamiliar. The razor stopped. Marissa's smile faltered. Harper lifted her head, trembling, mascara streaking her face just as the door flung open with a force that rattled the chandelier. Standing there was a man the Caldwells never expected to see. And the moment he saw Harper's half-shaved head, his expression turned to stone. Harper whispered, breathless, "Dad?" And the entire room went silent. Harper Quinn had never belonged to the glittering world the Caldwells lived in. She wasn't born into marble foyers and imported tulips, or families who hired nannies before children were even conceived. Her world had always been smaller, quieter, a rented apartment with thin walls in Santa Clarita, a second-hand Toyota Corolla that coughed every winter. Night shifts as an ER nurse, where exhaustion tugged at her eyelids, but purpose kept her standing. She grew up believing in simple things. Kindness, responsibility, love that didn't need to be photographed to feel real. Her childhood had been ordinary, a series of birthday cakes baked in small ovens, library books stacked beside her pillow, warm hugs from her mother before bed. She never questioned why she didn't have a father. Her mother simply said, "He loved you." Life just got in the way. And Harper, gentle as she was, never pushed further. When her mother passed unexpectedly 2 years ago, Harper's world shrank even more. She felt like a kite that had lost its string, drifting with no one left to anchor her. She buried herself in work, believing helping others would somehow stitch the hole inside her chest. Then Damon Caldwell walked into her ER room with a hand injury and a smile that could charm the sun out of the sky. He was polished, too polished, confident in ways Harper couldn't imagine being. Yet he looked at her like she mattered, like she was enough. For a while, she believed him. Their romance happened quickly, dizzyingly. Expensive dinners she felt unworthy of. Weekend trips to Malibu she didn't know how to dress for. Damon insisted she quit her job after marriage. "You don't need to work anymore, babe. Let me take care of you." Normally, Harper would have refused. But she was tired. Tired from losing her mother, tired from holding herself together. She wanted, desperately, to feel chosen. Marriage should have been a new beginning. Instead, it was the slow unraveling of everything she once was. Damon became distant. His family treated her like a burden they were forced to tolerate. Harper endured it all, telling herself things would get better. Then, she found out she was pregnant. For the first time since her mother died, she felt something warm bloom inside her. A reason to fight again. She dreamed of tiny socks, lullabies, late-night feedings of giving her baby the love she had always known. But pregnancy also made her vulnerable. and her vulnerability became their weapon. They controlled her, isolated her, mocked her behind closed doors. Marisa, the influencer sister-in-law, was the worst. Passive-aggressive comments disguised as jokes. "You sure Damon's okay with your background? Some women just aren't built for families like ours. Maybe the baby will look more Caldwell than Quinn." Every insult stung, but Harper stayed silent for the baby's sake. She convinced herself she could hold on a little longer. Yet the worst blow came the night she overheard Damon whispering to someone on the phone, the softness in his voice unmistakable. "You know you're the one I want, Lexi. After the baby, things will change." Harper had stood frozen in the dark hallway, her hand trembling over her belly, her future collapsing silently around her. Still, she stayed. Still, she hoped. Still, she believed she could fix what was broken. But as she sat in that velvet chair earlier, surrounded, powerless, and terrified, Harper finally understood something she should have realized long ago. The Caldwells didn't want her in their family. They wanted her destroyed. And at that moment, she felt a faint kick inside her belly, right before a voice outside the door snarled her name. The Caldwell estate didn't sit on Beverly Hills soil, it ruled it. Perched on a terraced hillside carved into perfect angles, the mansion stretched like a monument dedicated to excess. Floor-to-ceiling windows gleamed in the California sun, reflecting a world where appearances mattered more than truth, more than kindness, more than people themselves. This wasn't a home. It was a performance stage. From the outside, guests saw a paradise. Italian cypress trees lined the marble driveway, a cascading fountain shimmered under soft gold lighting, and luxury cars from polished Mercedes to sleek Teslas rested like trophies on display. Inside, the walls breathed wealth. Crystal chandeliers, imported stone floors, art sourced from Paris, Rome, Tokyo, everything curated, everything immaculate, everything cold. For Harper, the estate had always felt too quiet, too big, large enough to swallow someone's voice, large enough to hide cruelty behind soundproof doors. It was a place built on whispers and polite smiles, the kind that never reached anyone's eyes. Her favorite room, if she had to choose one, was the tiny breakfast nook that overlooked the garden. It was the only space untouched by Virginia Caldwell's interior designers. A small wooden table, scarred from years of use. A window seat faded from sunlight. Harper often sat there alone, tracing circles on the fabric while sipping warm tea. In those moments, for a brief heartbeat, she could pretend she was safe. But safety was an illusion in the Caldwell world. Virginia Caldwell, the matriarch, ruled the estate like a queen with a frozen heart. Her pearls always perfectly placed, her expressions always measured. She greeted Harper with politeness that cut deeper than open hostility. "Dear, you look tired. Maybe motherhood will soften your features. Not everyone can carry a pregnancy gracefully." Damon fit into this world too easily. He grew up in it, groomed by it. He was polished marble, handsome, flawless, and cold to the touch. He thrived in the estate's grand hallways, where people respected him before knowing him, where expectations elevated him the way love had once elevated Harper. And then there was Marisa Caldwell. Marisa fed on attention the way others breathed air. This mansion was her backdrop, her filming studio, her kingdom. Every room had witnessed some staged moment, fake tears, fake laughter, fake apologies, carefully crafted for millions of viewers who worshipped her online. Her influence made her dangerous. Her jealousy made her unpredictable. Harper often wandered through the mansion, clutching her belly, feeling like a ghost drifting through someone else's life. The rooms echoed with distant footsteps, voices behind closed doors, laughter that didn't include her. The estate's beauty felt like a trap, a velvet-lined cage designed to hold her quietly, neatly, out of sight. That morning, before the horror in the beauty lounge, Harper had stood in the grand foyer, staring at her reflection in the glass door. She looked small against the marble columns, small against the spiraling staircase, small against the towering portraits of the Caldwell ancestors, stern faces watching her with silent judgment. She whispered to herself, "Just get through today." For the baby. She had no idea the day would break her. She had no idea she would soon learn the truth behind the estate's newest renovation. A room sealed off in the West Wing, one Harper had never been allowed to enter. A room hiding secrets not meant for her eyes. And as she was led toward the beauty lounge hours later, she passed that locked door just as someone whispered her name from the other side. Marisa Caldwell never entered a room quietly. She moved like a storm disguised as sunshine, heels clicking, perfume trailing behind her like a warning. People often mistook her confidence for beauty, her elegance for class. But Harper had learned the truth in whispers and sharp glances. Marisa didn't shine. She hunted. That afternoon, while the mansion buzzed with preparations for the evening's charity event, Marisa floated through the hallway wearing a silk robe the color of spilled wine. A camera crew followed her, adjusting lights and tripods as if she were royalty. To her followers, she was. Beverly Hills adored her curated life. Lavish breakfasts, Pilates routines, candid moments with her children. But beneath every post lay the same appetite: control. She paused in front of the towering mirror in the beauty lounge, smoothing her hair with a satisfied smirk. "This lighting makes me look like I slept," she murmured. "Make sure it's on when Harper gets here. I want full reaction shots." One of the assistants hesitated. "Do we really need to film her?" She didn't seem comfortable on camera last time. Marisa's smile sharpened. "Comfortable? Sweetheart, she's not here to be comfortable. She married into this family, and she's done nothing to earn it. The internet has no interest in shy little nobodies. They want drama." Another assistant whispered, "But she's pregnant." Marisa rolled her eyes. "Exactly. Pregnant women go viral without trying. This could be our highest engagement this month." She turned her head slightly, catching her own reflection. Vanity glowed in her eyes. "Besides, Damon deserves better. And the sooner Harper realizes that, the easier this will be for everyone." Harper, standing just outside the door, heard everything. Her breath caught, her stomach clenched. She had come only because Virginia insisted it was tradition to prepare for family events together. She hadn't wanted to, but she wanted peace, just one quiet day before the baby arrived. Instead, she found herself listening to Marisa dissect her life like it was a marketing strategy. Marisa stepped closer to the camera, her tone shifting from cruel to calculated. "When she sits in that chair, I want the razor ready. Just the buzzing sound will make her panic. Then we pretend it's a joke. We laugh, she laughs, or cries. Either way, we win." One assistant swallowed. "And Damon? Should we tell him first?" Marisa's laugh was soft and cold. "Damon doesn't need to know. He'll just thank me later." Harper backed away from the door, heart pounding. The hallway blurred. She felt trapped, caught between her fear and the thundering realization that this wasn't teasing. This wasn't family tension. It was malice. Pure, deliberate malice. Suddenly, a hand appeared on Marisa's shoulder from inside the room. Not a comforting touch, a warning. Her husband, Colin, stood behind her, jaw tight. "Enough," he said quietly. "This is going too far." Marisa shrugged him off, her smile returning. "You worry too much. She's weak. She'll take it." Colin didn't reply. His silence said everything. For the first time, Harper saw a crack in the Caldwell armor, someone else who knew the family's cruelty, someone who saw the danger she was in. But before she could step back or breathe or hope, Marisa looked toward the door. As if she sensed Harper standing there. Her lips curled. "Bring her in," Marisa said. "It's time." Harper's steps were unsteady as she crossed the long hallway leading to the beauty lounge. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to hide, to protect herself and the tiny life inside her. But she moved forward anyway, because she had learned that resistance only made the Caldwells crueler. Compliance bought survival. For a while, at least, the double doors opened before she touched them, and she walked into a room that looked more like a film set than a family space. Softbox lights glowed against the mirrored walls, casting a bright, unforgiving glow. Cameras perched on tripods like metal vultures waiting for their feast. A ring light haloed Marisa's silhouette, giving her the appearance of a saint, an ironic contrast to the malice Harper could feel radiating from her. "There she is," Marisa sang, sweeping forward as if greeting a beloved sister. "Our mama-to-be. You look adorable today, Harper." Harper didn't feel adorable. She felt exposed. Her loose maternity dress didn't hide how hard her heart was pounding against her ribs. She took a seat because Marisa motioned toward the velvet chair, not a request, but a command disguised as warmth. "Before we begin," Marisa said loudly, "I want everyone to remember this is a family moment, a time for bonding." Her smile sharpened as she added, and authenticity. The assistants forced smiles. Even they felt the tension. Harper tried to calm herself, rubbing a thumb over her belly. "I thought this was just hairstyling," she said softly. "It is," Marisa replied brightly. "But we wanted to make it fun. You know, more dramatic. Everything's dramatic when you're pregnant, right?" Some of the women laughed. Harper didn't. Marisa reached for a silver tray, lifting a pair of scissors with theatrical flair. "Just a trim to frame your face. You trust me, don't you?" Harper hesitated. Yes. It was easier to say yes. Suddenly, the door opened again. Virginia Caldwell entered not as a mother-in-law, but as a judge descending from her throne. She surveyed the room with cool eyes. "Is everything ready?" Marisa nodded. "We're about to start." Virginia's gaze lingered on Harper. "Good. We need her to look polished for tonight. The foundation donors will be here. Appearances matter." Appearances. Always appearances. Harper's palms grew cold. She tried to rise, but Marisa gently pushed her back down. "Relax, sweetheart. You fuss too much. Think of the baby." The assistants closed in. One adjusted the lights. Another positioned the camera closer. A third rolled a cart out from behind a floral partition. That cart held more than scissors. It held the electric razor. Harper's heart lurched. She tried to stand again. "I don't think Marisa cut her off. "You'll be fine. We're live in 15 seconds. Live?" Harper's voice cracked. Marisa's grin widened. "Of course, my followers love family content." Harper's breath hitched as the camera light switched from blue to red, recording. The room stilled. The assistants formed a half-circle behind her, their expressions carefully neutral, as if they didn't want to be caught in the blast radius of whatever was coming next. Then Damon walked in. Her husband. The man she once trusted more than anyone. He didn't look at her first. He looked at the camera, adjusted his tie, smiled. And only then did his gaze flick to her flat, distant, almost annoyed. "Harper," he said, "try not to make this difficult." Her stomach twisted. "Damon, what is this?" His jaw tightened. A necessary moment. Before she could speak again, Marisa stepped behind her, fingers gripping the razor's handle. She whispered into Harper's ear, soft and cruel. "Smile, sweetheart. He told me to do it." The buzzing of the razor returned louder now, angrier, as if hungry for the humiliation it was about to create. Harper tried to push herself up, but her knees buckled beneath the weight of fear, pregnancy, and betrayal. Damon didn't reach for her. He didn't even look concerned. He just adjusted his cufflinks like this was all an inconvenience. "Please," Harper whispered, her throat tight. "I'm not feeling well. I'm lightheaded. Let's stop, please." Marisa rolled her eyes, circling Harper like a predator. "God, you're dramatic. It's only hair. It grows back." "But not the trust she's lost," one assistant murmured under her breath. Marisa shot her a warning glare. The woman instantly fell silent. The razor drew closer. Harper felt the vibration in the air before it ever touched her skin. Her vision blurred at the edges, the bright ring lights above her smearing into white halos. Her breath quickened. She could feel the baby shifting, reacting to her panic. "Damon, please," she begged. He finally met her eyes. Not with compassion, with impatience. "Harper, stop making a scene. This is for the family's image. You agreed to be part of this household. I canna. Not like this. You always twist things," he snapped. "You're emotional because you're pregnant. Just sit still." His voice, once the anchor she trusted, felt like a knife now. Marisa lifted the razor. A harsh buzz filled the room. The first swipe tore through the center of Harper's hairline. She gasped, half from shock, half from the sharp sting on her scalp. Strands fell onto her lap like pieces of a life she no longer recognized. Her body shook. Tears spilled freely, hot and uncontrollable. "Oh, relax," Marisa said loudly for the camera. "You're fine. Honestly, you should thank me. This style might actually flatter your face." Virginia Caldwell, standing near the vanity, watched with a stiff posture, arms folded. She didn't stop it. She didn't speak. She simply observed as if Harper were a stain she was waiting to see removed. Another swipe. More hair falling. Harper pressed a hand to her belly. "It hurts. I can't breathe." I-formation. I-formation, Marisa scoffed. She's doing that sympathy act again. But it wasn't an act. Harper's chest tightened. Her ears rang. The ground felt as though it tilted. Sweat beaded at her forehead. She grabbed the arms of the chair to steady herself. Suddenly, her body tensed, her vision dimmed. "I'm going to faint," she whispered. "Don't you dare," Marisa snapped. "We're filming." But Harper wasn't listening anymore. Her breaths came out in short, quick bursts. Her baby shifted sharply. A cramp twisted across her abdomen. She doubled over slightly, wincing. Damon stepped back, annoyed. "You're ruining the footage." A choked sound escaped Harper's throat, half sob, half plea. "The baby, something's not right." That changed nothing. Marisa continued shaving, now laughing for the camera. "My viewers are going to eat this up. Vulnerability is good content, babe." Harper's head dropped forward. Another tear hit the floor. One of the assistants finally stepped forward. "Marisa, stop. She's pale, really pale." Marisa snapped. "Stay out of it." But the assistant didn't move. Her eyes widened, staring at something behind Harper. Something, or someone. A shadow fell across the room. Heavy, commanding, unmistakable. The ambient chatter died instantly. Even the razor stopped humming. Marisa's smile faded. Damon stiffened. Virginia's face drained of color. Because the double doors had opened, and standing there was a man whose presence swallowed the entire room, towering, furious, and unmistakably powerful. He whispered Harper's name, and she began to collapse forward, right into the arms of the father she thought she'd lost forever. Ethan Quinn had always been a ghost in Harper's memories, more myth than man. Growing up, she pictured him through fragments her mother let slip. A warm laugh, steady hands, a promise broken not by choice, but by danger. She never imagined the real version would stand in the doorway of the Caldwell Beauty Lounge like a force of nature summoned by her pain. He filled the entrance, a tall figure in a charcoal suit, the kind woven only for men whose names moved markets. His presence didn't shout, it thundered in silence. The room bent around him, lights, air, fear, all shifting in his direction. Harper barely lifted her head as she felt herself collapsing. The edges of her vision were blackening, her body heavy, her breath shallow. "Easy, sweetheart," Ethan whispered, catching her just before she hit the floor. "I've got you." His voice, his voice. Gentle, familiar, heartbreakingly steady. Harper clung weakly to his sleeve. "Dad, is it really you?" He pressed a hand to her cheek. "Yes, I'm here now. I'm not leaving again." Gasps rippled through the room. Virginia stepped forward first, her shock melting into a polished smile. "Mr. Quinn," she said too warmly. "We weren't expecting." Ethan didn't look at her. He looked at Harper's half-shaved scalp, the fallen hair on the floor, the razor still humming in Marisa's trembling hand. And his eyes, usually calm, hardened into something lethal. "What," he said quietly, "did you do to my daughter?" Damon straightened, attempting confidence. "Sir, with respect, Harper is emotional. This was just family content for Marisa's channel." "Family content?" Ethan's voice dropped an octave, cold enough to frost glass. "You shaved a pregnant woman's head for content?" Marisa lifted her chin. "It was harmless," she agreed, and frankly, she overreacted. Influencers do edgy things. It's entertainment. Ethan stepped toward her. Each quiet footstep felt like a verdict being delivered. "My daughter is 7 months pregnant," he said, eyes piercing through her. "She is lightheaded. She's shaking. And you," he pointed to the razor in her hand, "put a blade to her scalp." Marisa's bravado flickered. "It wasn't a blade. It's just—" Ethan cut her off. "You don't speak unless I ask you to." No one had ever spoken to Marisa like that. Her lips trembled. Then Ethan turned to Damon. "You allowed this." Damon swallowed hard. "I didn't know she was going to faint. I didn't realize she was that distressed." "Because you weren't looking at her," Ethan growled. "You were looking at the camera." Damon's silence was admission. The assistants stood frozen, unsure whether to run or pray. Ethan gently positioned Harper into a nearby armchair, touching her with the tenderness reserved for someone precious. He brushed loose strands of hair away from her face. "Harper, sweetheart," he said softly, "can you breathe? Does your stomach hurt? Is the baby moving?" Harper nodded weakly. "Just scared." "I know," his voice cracked, "but I'm here now. I'm here. As for—" He turned toward the doorway and signaled. Two large men in black suits stepped inside Quinn's security. Their presence electrified the room. "Remove every camera," Ethan ordered. "Now." They obeyed instantly, unplugging lights, shutting down recording devices, confiscating memory cards. Marissa's face drained of all color. "That's illegal," she protested. "So is the assault you just committed," Ethan replied. Virginia stepped forward, voice trembling. "Mr. Quinn, perhaps we can discuss this privately." "No," Ethan said sharply. "We'll discuss it publicly." Everyone froze. Because Ethan Quinn wasn't just angry, he was preparing for war. He lifted Harper carefully into his arms, and as he carried her out of the room past Damon, Marissa, and Virginia, he spoke one final sentence that shattered the Caldwells like glass. "This family will answer for what they've done. All of you." And Babel. The drive from the Caldwell estate to the Beverly Hills Ritz-Carlton felt like a blur, a strange mixture of fear, exhaustion, and a small, trembling spark of safety. Harper stayed in her father's arms the entire ride, her head resting against his chest, listening to the steady beat of a heart she had never known but somehow recognized instantly. Ethan held her like she was fragile but precious, something he had longed to protect for years. Security escorted them into a private elevator. The doors slid shut, sealing them inside a golden hush. Harper's reflection in the mirrored walls startled her. Half a shaved scalp, tears staining her cheeks. But what gutted her most was the hollow look in her eyes, fear layered with shame. Ethan touched her chin gently. "Don't look at yourself like you're broken," he said softly. "You didn't do this." "They did." Harper's lips trembled. "Why now? After all these years? Why come today?" He looked away, guilt shadowing his face. "Because I was told you were dead." Her breath caught. "What?" "A lie your mother crafted to protect you," he continued quietly. "She left me to keep you safe. I spent 26 years searching for you. When Cole called me today telling me you were in danger, I didn't hesitate." The elevator chimed. Cole Harrington stood waiting as the doors opened, his expression etched with concern. "Harper," he said gently, "I'm so sorry." She didn't know what to say. She only nodded, still dazed. Ethan guided her inside a penthouse suite overlooking the city. Soft lights warmed the room, casting gentle shadows across the skyline. It felt nothing like the cold perfection of the Caldwell mansion. This room breathed. It lived. A medical team stood by. Cole ordered them forward, "Check her vitals," and the babies. Harper lay back on the plush bed as the team worked around her. Cold gel on her belly, the rhythmic beep of monitors. A soft whoosh, her baby's heartbeat, steady, strong. She exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Tears slid silently down her cheeks. "The baby's okay," the doctor said with a reassuring smile. "You're dehydrated and under severe stress, but with rest, you'll regain your strength." Ethan squeezed her hand. "Hear that? He's tough, just like his mother." For the first time that day, Harper allowed a faint smile to appear. The medical team left. Cole stepped closer. "I know you don't remember me," he said softly, "but 2 years ago, you saved my son's life in the ER. I promised myself that if you ever needed help, I'd repay the debt." Harper blinked. "Your son, the little boy with the asthma attack?" He nodded. "You held him for 90 minutes straight while they stabilized his lungs. He still asks about the nurse with the warm hands." A warmth spread through her chest, just enough to dull the ache. Cole hesitated, then held out a small velvet pouch. "This is for you." She frowned. "What is it?" "An option," he said quietly. "A way out." Inside was a new phone, untraceable, safe. Harper stared at it, understanding dawning slowly. Her voice shook. "You think they'll come after me?" "I think the Caldwells don't handle humiliation well," Cole replied. "And the moment they realize who your father is, they'll panic. They'll try to twist the story, control the narrative." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Which is why we're controlling it first." "Eza." Harper swallowed hard. "What do you mean?" Cole's eyes met hers, steady, resolute. "Tonight," he said, "you're not just recovering." He stepped closer. "Tonight, Harper, you're going to fight back." Harper had spent months thinking she was alone. A powerless, pregnant woman trapped inside a family that chipped away at her confidence piece by piece. But now, in the warm glow of the penthouse suite, she began realizing something she'd forgotten along the way. She mattered. Her life mattered. and people were willing to fight for her. Cole Harrington moved with calm certainty, the kind of presence that made the air shift around him. He sat beside Harper, keeping a respectful distance, while Ethan paced the room like a storm ready to break. "We need a plan," Ethan said. "Not impulsiveness, not emotion. Strategy." Cole nodded. "I agree. Harper's safety comes first." Harper swallowed. "You're talking like they'd actually harm me." Ethan stopped pacing. "They already did." He gestured toward her shaved scalp, the bruised redness where the razor scraped too close. Harper touched it lightly and winced. Cole leaned forward. "They humiliated you on camera. Whether the live stream fully aired or not, there will be fragments online. Comments, reposts, backups. We can't undo what they've done." Harper's shoulders slumped. "But we can control what comes next," Cole finished. Ethan approached her, placing both hands gently on her arms. "Sweetheart, the Caldwells survive on reputation. They spend millions every year maintaining the illusion of perfection. If the truth comes out, the real truth, it will bury them." Harper looked between them. Two powerful men, one her father, one a stranger she once saved, now united in the same mission, protecting her. "But what can we actually do?" she asked, voice soft but steady. "They have money, influence, a public image people worship." "I have said." Cole smiled, slow, deliberate, a glint of strategy lighting his eyes. "Harper, your father is Ethan Quinn. Entire markets shift when he clears his throat. And I run the second largest healthcare corporation in the state. Believe me, they don't have more influence than the two of us combined." Ethan added, "You are not fighting alone anymore." A tremor worked through Harper's chest, relief. Fear, hope, all tangled together. Ethan continued, "The first step is documented evidence." "Cole, you said you received footage?" Cole tapped his phone. "From an anonymous source inside the Caldwell household. I suspect one of the staff." The video shows the moment Marisa lifted the razor, clearly against Harper's will. Harper felt a shiver run through her. "Someone helped me?" "Yes," Cole said simply. "You're not as alone as they wanted you to think." He projected the video onto the suite's large screen. Harper forced herself to watch. Her own terrified eyes stared back at her. Damon's indifference, Marisa's glee, the assistant's discomfort, Virginia's cold stare. Harper covered her mouth. "I didn't realize. I didn't see how bad." Cole turned off the display immediately. "You don't need to watch more." Ethan exhaled sharply. "We use this, quietly, strategically, and when the time is right, we strike." Harper shook her head. "I don't want revenge. I want safety. For me and for my baby." Cole softened. "And you'll have it. But sometimes, safety means exposing the danger so it can't touch you again." Ethan sat beside her, voice low. "We'll take them down at the gala tonight. Damon, Marisa, Virginia, all of them. In front of the donors, the press, the world." Harper froze. "Tonight?" Cole nodded. "Their guard will be down. They won't expect you to show up, especially not with us." Harper hesitated. Her heart pounded. She thought of the humiliation, the pain, the way Damon looked at her like she was a burden. She inhaled deeply. "Tell me what I have to do," she whispered. Cole smiled with quiet pride. "You're stronger than you think, Harper." She stood on shaky legs. But as she steadied herself, Ethan's phone vibrated sharply. He frowned as he answered. His face went pale. He whispered, "Harper, they're coming for you." The moment Ethan's expression shifted, Harper felt the air thicken. He stepped away from the window, jaw locked, shoulders tense. Cole watched him carefully, sensing the danger before a word was spoken. "What is it?" Harper whispered. Ethan didn't sugarcoat it. "The Caldwells know you're gone. And they're panicking." Cole frowned. "Already? That's fast." Ethan shook his head. "They called every contact they had. They're trying to locate which hospital we took her to. Virginia told one of their attorneys that Harper had an episode and they need to contain the situation." Harper's stomach twisted. "Contain? Me?" Cole's eyes darkened. "They're going to spin a narrative. Pretend you were unstable, emotional, dangerous to yourself." His voice hardened. "They want to make you look unfit." Harper pressed a trembling hand to her belly. The idea hit her harder than anything that razor ever could. "They want my baby." Ethan's voice was controlled fury. They won't get anywhere near you or my grandson. That family doesn't understand who they just crossed. Cole nodded. We need to get ahead of this. If they paint her as mentally unstable, they'll weaponize it in court. Harper blinked, her breath shallow. Court? They would actually go that far? Damon would, Ethan answered. He's the type who'd rather burn the house down than admit he hurt someone. Cole added, and Marisa? She's terrified of losing sponsors. She'll lie about anything. A silence settled over the room, heavy and sharp. Harper stared at the floor. I don't want to fight them, but I can't lose my baby. Ethan crouched beside her, his voice softer than she'd ever heard it. You won't lose anything. You didn't break Harper. They did. Cole tapped his tablet. We need proof they harmed you without consent, more than the video we have. Ethan nodded. We need the raw footage. The entire thing. Harper blinked. But that's in their house, on their devices. Cole's expression shifted, strategic, calculating. Not all of it. Influencers like Marisa automatically back up footage to cloud servers. Her assistants have access. One of them already sent me a sample. He slid his tablet toward Harper. But we need more. Enough to destroy any false narrative. Harper studied the paused video. Her own frightened eyes stared back, surrounded by people who enjoyed her fear. A wave of nausea hit her, not from pregnancy, but from memory. I can't watch more, she whispered. You won't have to, Cole said gently. I'll handle the footage. Ethan will handle the legal side. You'll just focus on staying safe. Ethan stood, voice firm. We take the evidence to the gala tonight. It will be full of donors, the press, board members, people who once believed in the Caldwell image. Harper stared at her half-shaved reflection in the window. A broken woman looked back, but beneath that brokenness, something glowed. Not strength yet, but the beginning of it. She inhaled shakily. If I show up like this, they'll laugh at me. Cole stepped closer. No, he said softly. They will fear you. But you look like someone they hurt, he said. And when people see the truth, Harper, the world will turn on them, not you. Ethan added, you won't walk into that gala alone. You'll walk in with me. And me, Cole echoed. Harper's eyes burned with tears, not from pain this time, but gratitude. Then, Ethan's phone buzzed again. He glanced at the screen, his face darkening. What now? Cole asked. Ethan handed him the phone. A chilling text glowed on the screen, sent from an unknown number. Tell Harper, we're not done. Family comes first, and she belongs to us. Cole's grip tightened. Harper's heart plummeted, because the message was signed, Damon. Harper stared at the glowing screen, Damon's text burning into her mind like a brand. Family comes first. She belongs to us. Her throat tightened. He had never used the word belongs before, not out loud. But she had felt it in every silenced argument, every controlled decision, every dismissal of her feelings. Now it was spelled out, naked and unfiltered, like the truth he never meant to reveal. Ethan took the phone from her trembling hand. This isn't a husband, he said quietly. This is a threat. Cole nodded. He's escalating. He's scared. Harper wiped her cheeks. Scared of what? Of losing control? Cole looked straight at her. No. He's scared because you're no longer isolated. Ethan paced the suite, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. We're not waiting anymore. We go on the offensive. But Harper's voice was small. Offensive? I'm not strong enough. Cole knelt beside her chair. Harper, you survived them. You survived their cruelty, their manipulation, their indifference. Strength isn't loud, it's staying standing after being pushed down 100 times. She swallowed hard. No one had ever spoken about her that way before. Ethan returned to the table and placed a thin folder in front of her. I wasn't going to show you this yet, but you need to see who Damon really is. Her heart stuttered. What? What is that? Records, Ethan said. Financial transactions, phone logs, dating app messages. Evidence collected over the past 3 months. If you also vid it. Harper's breath caught. You were investigating him? No, Ethan replied. Cole was. Cole lifted his eyes to hers. I had suspicions from the moment I saw your name. Your ER shift had been flagged in an internal report. The night you saved my son, you were already exhausted. Already stressed. Someone had called you repeatedly, 16 missed calls from Damon, all within 2 hours. Harper's stomach twisted. He was furious that night. He said my job was ruining our marriage. Don't mess. He didn't want you working, Ethan said, because he didn't want you independent. Cole opened the folder and slid out several glossy photos. These were taken over the last month. Harper's pulse roared in her ears as she looked. Damon. With Lexi Ward. In restaurants, bars, parking garages. Her husband touching the girl's waist, leaning close, holding her hand. No, Harper whispered, her chest tightening. He told me she was a temporary assistant. Cole nodded. Temporary for his marriage, maybe. Permanent for everything else. Ethan added. He wasn't planning a divorce, Harper. He was planning to remove you from the picture entirely. Paint you unstable. Take the baby. Start a new life, clean. Harper pressed both hands to her stomach, as if shielding her child from the truth. How could he do this? Cole's voice darkened. Because he believed he could get away with it. A sharp knock at the penthouse door made Harper flinch. Ethan froze. Cole's expression hardened instantly. Security wasn't supposed to let anyone up here. The knock came again, stronger this time. Ethan motioned Harper behind him. Stay back. Cole signaled the two Quinn security guards outside the suite. They moved toward the door, hands on their weapons. Harper held her breath. One guard swung the door open, and standing there, sweating, red-faced, and wild-eyed, was Damon. His gaze locked onto Harper instantly. Harper, he snapped, stepping forward as if he owned the room. Get your things. We're going home. Ethan blocked his path. She's not going anywhere with you, Damon sneered. You think you can hide her from me? She's my wife. Harper backed away, pulse pounding. Stay away from me, Damon. He smirked. There it is. The drama. He held up his phone. I recorded it. Judges love this stuff. But then, Cole stepped directly into Damon's path. His voice calm, controlled, deadly. You shouldn't have come here, Damon. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Damon's intrusion shattered the fragile peace of the penthouse. Harper's pulse hammered against her ribs as she stumbled backward, instinctively shielding her belly with both hands. The man she once trusted now looked unrecognizable, eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched, desperation leaking through every arrogant breath he took. Harper, Damon repeated, voice cracking with a fury he was trying and failing to contain. You're coming with me, now. Ethan stepped forward, blocking him without hesitation. You'll leave before I have security remove you. Damon scoffed. You think you can tell me what to do with my wife? With my child? Harper flinched. His emphasis wasn't love. It was ownership. Control. A reminder of the cage he'd built around her. Cole's voice cut through the tension, cool and steady. The only thing you're taking today, Damon, is a legal consequence. And you walked right into it. Damon shot him a murderous glare. Stay out of this. You're nobody. Cole didn't blink. Funny. That's what Harper said about you, right before she saw the evidence. For the first time, Damon's mask slipped. His swagger faltered. Fear crept into his expression. What evidence? He demanded. Ethan tossed a folder onto the table. Your affairs. Your transactions. Your messages to Lexi Ward. Your plans to take Harper's baby using a fabricated instability claim. Damon froze. Harper saw the truth settle over him, the realization that his secrets weren't secrets anymore. You think any of that matters? Damon snapped, voice shaking now. Harper knows how emotional she is, how fragile. Judges know it too. Harper straightened slowly. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. I'm not fragile, Damon. I'm pregnant. There's a difference. He turned to her like he might lunge. Cole stepped between them in a heartbeat. Touch her, Cole warned, and you won't walk out of this building. For a moment, no one breathed. Then Damon laughed a hollow, unhinged sound. All of this for her? A girl with nothing? No background? No family? She has a family, Ethan said sharply. Me. Damon blinked at him. And in that instant, Harper saw at the moment Damon realized he'd miscalculated. Badly. Ethan's presence wasn't just emotional gravity. It was financial, political, unshakable power. The kind that could crush the Caldwell family like dust. Damon's bravado cracked. If you're really her father, then she lied about who she was. No, Harper said softly. She didn't know. She? Damon repeated, mocking. She didn't know? Convenient. Harper steadied herself. You hid everything from me, Damon. My mail, my job letters, my medical forms. You isolated me so you could control me. Damon's silence was confirmation. Cole crossed his arms. You need to leave. Now. Damon opened his mouth to argue, but two Quinn security guards stepped into view behind him. Broad, armed, ready. For the first time, Damon hesitated. This isn't over, he hissed. Harper, you think you're safe with them? You think they'll keep you? You're nothing without me. Harper swallowed hard. Then it's a good thing I'm done being nothing. Damon lunged forward, instinct, not thought. Security intercepted him instantly, pinning his arms behind his back. Damon thrashed. Get off me, Harper. Tell them to stop. I'm your husband. But Harper didn't move. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She simply said, not anymore. Ethan nodded once. The guards dragged Damon toward the elevator as he screamed threats that grew smaller and smaller with distance. When the doors finally closed, sealing his voice away, Harper exhaled a shaky breath she felt like she'd been holding for years. Cole looked at her. You did that, he said. Not us. Harper's knees wobbled. She sank onto the couch, covering her face with trembling hands. I don't know if I'm strong enough for what comes next. Ethan sat beside her, his tone steady. Then it's time we make you strong. Harper lifted her head, eyes still wet. How? Cole exchanged a look with Ethan. Then he spoke. We're taking you somewhere. Somewhere the Caldwells can't touch you, and where you're going to become impossible to break. The car ride out of Beverly Hills was silent except for the steady hum of the engine and Harper's uneven breathing. She sat between Ethan and Cole in the back of the black SUV as it wound through the hills, city lights stretching out like a glittering river below. Harper didn't know where they were taking her. But for the first time in months, uncertainty didn't feel like fear. It felt like possibility. After 40 minutes, the SUV turned into a private underground entrance she didn't recognize. A security gate rose automatically. Harper frowned. Where are we? Cole smiled gently. Somewhere you were always meant to be. The car stopped beside a private elevator. Ethan helped her out. She leaned on him slightly, not out of weakness, but because she still couldn't believe he was real, alive, beside her. The elevator doors slid open onto the top floor of an office building that whispered wealth with every detail: polished stone floors, sleek wood paneling, floor-to-ceiling glass revealing the Los Angeles skyline. Harper blinked. What is this place? Ethan motioned her forward. Home. But it wasn't a residence. It was power. Cole pressed his palm to a panel, and a set of double doors opened, revealing a boardroom larger than the entire first floor of her old apartment. On the far wall, a silver nameplate glimmered. Quinn Global Holdings Headquarters. Harper froze, the weight of it hitting her like a tidal wave. This is yours? Ethan nodded. And one day, it will be yours. Harper's breath trembled. The woman who once rationed groceries, the woman Damon told was lucky to have him, was standing inside the empire she never knew she was heir to. Cole guided her toward the long conference table. This isn't just your father's company, he said. You're a legal shareholder. Your mother protected your rights. Ethan added, we waited for the right moment to bring you here. I wanted you to meet me without danger hanging over you. But circumstances changed. Harper ran her fingers along the cool surface of the table. I don't know anything about running a company. Cole's voice softened. You don't have to know yet. Just understand, this Damon and his family can't touch you anymore. Not legally, not financially, not socially. End quote. Ethan opened a folder and placed it in front of her. This document makes it official. Your seat on the board. Your protections. Your inheritance. Harper stared at the paper, the black ink blurring through her tears. Why are you doing all of this now? Ethan cupped her cheek, eyes full of a grief only a father could understand. Because I lost 26 years of your life. I won't lose another minute. Another. She looked from Ethan to Cole, two men who didn't owe her anything, yet were giving her everything. Still, fear whispered inside her. But Damon, Virginia, Marisa, they'll come at me harder now. They won't just walk away. Cole met her gaze, steady and unwavering. Good, he said. Then they'll walk into the trap we're building. Ethan sat beside her, voice low. Tonight's gala is more than revenge. It's truth. It's protection. It's the moment the world sees the real Harper Quinn. And Overho. She exhaled shakily. And who is she? Cole leaned in slightly. A woman they underestimated. Harper felt something bloom in her chest, strength wrapped in fear, wrapped in new courage. She picked up the pen. "Tell me what to sign," she whispered. Ethan smiled gently. "Everything that gives you your life back." Harper pressed the pen to the paper. But just as she signed her name, the boardroom doors burst open. A breathless Quinn security officer rushed in, face pale. "Sir, Mr. Quinn, there's been a breach." Ethan shot to his feet. "Where?" The officer swallowed hard. "At the gala. The Caldwells just arrived with lawyers, and a statement aimed directly at Harper." The ride to the Manhattan Beach Grand Gala unfolded like a silent countdown. Harper sat in the back of the Quinn limousine, her hand placed protectively over her belly, her hair now trimmed into a clean, elegant pixie cut, fresh, sharp, intentional. A stylist from Quinn Global had worked quietly around her, transforming the damage into a statement. Her gown, a simple black silk dress chosen by Cole, didn't scream for attention. It whispered strength. "You don't have to speak tonight," Ethan said softly beside her. "Your presence alone will be enough." Harper took a slow breath. "I'm scared. Not of them, but of how people will look at me." Cole, sitting across from her, shook his head gently. "They won't see what they did to you. They'll see what you survived." The limousine pulled up to the hotel entrance, where camera flashes burst like fireworks. Paparazzi lined the walkway. Reporters leaned over velvet ropes. The Caldwell family knew how to stir publicity, and tonight they had used that skill like a weapon. Harper stepped out with Ethan on her right and Cole on her left. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Whispers, shock, sympathy, outrage. The sight of her half-shaved hair made every lens tilt toward her instantly. Cole leaned slightly toward her. "They wanted to embarrass you," he murmured. "Instead, you look iconic." Inside the ballroom, chandeliers cast warm golden light over polished marble floors. Donors in designer gowns mingled, sipping champagne. And at the far end of the room, standing confidently beneath the gala's enormous white banner, were the Caldwells. Damon, Marisa, Virginia, flanked by lawyers. They looked like a trio preparing for war. Marisa spotted Harper first. Her smile stretched unnaturally wide, the kind used by people who know they're trapped but still pretending victory is within reach. Damon whispered something to a lawyer, who nodded and stepped forward, unfolding a stack of printed statements. Cole let out a dry laugh. They really came with press releases. Ethan stepped closer to Harper. "Remember, you don't speak until I tell you. Their words mean nothing now." But Harper was already watching them. Watching Damon's stiff posture, watching Marisa's shaking hands, watching Virginia pretend composure while her eyes darted nervously. Fear. They were afraid. The realization washed over Harper slowly, like warm water spreading through her chest. For the first time, she didn't shrink. She didn't want to disappear. She wanted them to see her. Truly see her. The gala host tapped the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, before tonight's auction, the Caldwell family would like to make a brief statement." Of course they would. Damon stepped up first, his face rehearsed into grief. "Thank you for giving us a moment. We've had a difficult day." "Harper, my wife experienced an episode earlier." The crowd murmured. Harper's jaw tightened. Cole muttered, "And the smear campaign begins." Damon continued, "She's been under immense emotional pressure. We're doing everything we can to get her the help she needs." Ethan moved, but Harper reached out and gently touched his arm. "Let me," she whispered. Ethan froze. So did Cole. Harper stepped forward, one measured stride after another, her dress swaying like liquid shadow. Her shaved head caught the light, her chin lifted. The room's chatter faded into a single, stunned silence. Damon blinked at her, panic sputtering in his eyes. "H. Harper, you shouldn't." She took the microphone from the host's trembling hand. 1,000 eyes locked onto her. Her voice was quiet but steady. "You want to talk about emotional episodes?" she said. "Let's talk about what really happened today." Damon paled. Marisa's smile broke. Virginia gripped the podium. Harper reached into her clutch, withdrew Cole's tablet, and tapped the screen. The ballroom's massive projector flickered to life, and the first frame that appeared was Marisa, smiling coldly, holding the razor to Harper's head. The room erupted before the video even finished. Gasps burst from every corner. Champagne glasses froze halfway to lips. Donors, wealthy, influential, opinionated, leaned forward in disbelief. In the projection, Maurice's grin stretched wickedly as she lowered the buzzing razor onto Harper's scalp. Harper kept her eyes on the crowd, not the screen. She didn't need to relive the moment. She needed them to witness it. Maurice's voice echoed through the speakers. "Smile, sweetheart. He told me to do it." The ballroom fell into a suffocating silence. Then chaos hit. What is this? Is that Harper? Is she pregnant? My God, who would do that to a woman in her condition? Damon lunged toward the projector. Turn it off. Turn it off. But two Quinn security guards stepped forward, blocking his path. Damon's face flushed an alarming shade of red. Harper, he hissed, trying to keep his voice low. Stop this. You're making a fool of yourself. And of me. She didn't look at him. You made a fool of yourself a long time ago, Damon. And other. For the first time, the crowd murmured in her favor. Virginia Caldwell, normally composed, scrambled toward the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, please, this is being taken out of context. Our family has always supported Harper. She is fragile and... Fragile? Someone in the audience snapped. She looks stronger than all of you. A ripple of agreement spread. Maurice's eyes darted wildly. She forced a smile, so strained it nearly cracked her face. This was scripted. A prank. Harper's just... The video cut to another angle. Harper sobbing, Maurice laughing, Damon watching coldly. A woman near the front covered her mouth. This is abuse. Cole stepped forward beside Harper, his voice carrying across the ballroom. This was not a prank. This was targeted humiliation, and it was live-streamed. Reporters surged forward. Cameras flashed like lightning. Harper, do you feel safe? Is your pregnancy at risk? Are the Caldwells facing charges? Virginia raised her hands. Stop. You will not destroy our reputation over a misunderstanding. Ethan Quinn's voice boomed across the hall. Your reputation was destroyed the moment you touched my daughter. A hush fell instantly. Everyone turned to him, the billionaire whose name carried weight in every financial district from New York to Tokyo. Ethan walked to Harper's side, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. For months, Harper endured gaslighting, isolation, manipulation, and cruelty. Tonight, you tried to rewrite the story. Unfortunately for you, the truth was recorded. Damon clenched his fists. You won't get away with this. But his voice lacked conviction. Because he already knew he'd lost. A lawyer approached Marissa nervously. Marissa, we have a problem. What now? She snapped. The lawyer swallowed. The IRS has opened an inquiry. Your sponsored content earnings? There are discrepancies. A lot of them. Marissa's face drained. What? No, that can't. Cole added, it can. And it did. You should have declared your crypto payments. Virginia staggered backward. This is sabotage. Ethan's gaze was cold. No, this is consequence. Damon tried one last time to reclaim control. Harper, if you walk away now, you're proving you're unstable. Harper turned to him fully. I'm not unstable, she said quietly. I'm finally awake. And for the first time, Damon visibly faltered. Just then, a group of uniformed officers entered the ballroom. The crowd split apart in shock. One officer approached Damon. Damon Caldwell, we have questions regarding financial misconduct and evidence of coercion. Damon stepped back, panicked. What evidence? There's no... Cole, calm as ice, handed over a folder. This. Damon snatched it open and froze. Inside were screenshots, wire transfers, messages to Lexi, the blueprint of every scheme he'd built. His jaw slackened, his eyes darted around desperately. Then someone shouted from across the room. Harper, look behind you. Harper turned sharply, her heart slamming into her ribs. The entire crowd parted like a dark sea, revealing a woman stumbling toward her Lexi Ward. Damon's secret lover. Her hair was disheveled, mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked terrified. Hunted. Harper, Lexi cried, voice cracking. They're lying to everyone. You don't understand. Damon made me. He made me. Damon spun around, rage exploding across his features. Lexi, shut your mouth. Lexi staggered backward. No, I'm done protecting you. You said you'd ruin me if I didn't keep quiet. Well, I'm done keeping quiet. The crowd gasped. Reporters leaned in, cameras rising like vultures. Harper felt dizzy. Lexi. The girl Damon had thrown her away for. The girl he swore meant nothing. Lexi's voice trembled. He told me he needed the baby, not you. He said once the custody paperwork was done, he'd be taken care of. Harper's stomach churned. Damon lunged toward Lexi, but Cole intercepted him, grabbing Damon by the collar. Touch her, and you'll regret it, Damon thrashed. You're all insane. Lexi's a liar. Lexi held up her phone. The recordings say otherwise. The room roared in disbelief as she tapped a button. Damon's voice poured from the speakers, cold, cruel, unmistakably his. Once I get custody, she's gone. She won't bother us again. She's too weak to fight. Harper's knees nearly buckled. Weak? Weak? Her hand curled into a fist at her side. Ethan stepped to her, steadying her. His voice was a low growl. Sweetheart, do not let his words define you. Tonight, the world finally sees him for what he is. Reporters erupted. Damon, is this true? Were you planning to take the baby? Harper, how long has this abuse been happening? Damon tried to shout over them. She's manipulating this. She's unstable. Ethan's voice cut across the room. Enough. The lights dimmed suddenly, purposeful, not accidental. A hush swept the ballroom as the projector flickered again. Cole stepped onto the stage beside Harper. Ladies and gentlemen, he said calmly, you've seen the cruelty. Now you'll see the cover-up. Dater. The next clip appeared. Virginia Caldwell, in her home office, speaking to a lawyer. Harper will break eventually. Just push her. If she cries, record it. Judges eat that up. Gasps. Shouts. Someone yelled, monsters. Virginia stumbled backward, knocking over a champagne glass. That's taken out of context. But Cole wasn't finished. Another clip. This time, Marisa. Sitting on a couch. Laughing. Bragging. When that razor hits her scalp, she'll finally know her place. Damon will thank me later. The ballroom erupted into chaos. Marisa covered her face. Turn it off. I didn't mean it literally. But the worst wasn't over. The final recording appeared. Damon again. Talking to a man off camera. Harper's just leverage. After the baby, she'll be no trouble. Harper's chest tightened. Not with fear this time. With clarity. Ethan stepped forward, his voice booming. This is who they are. And tonight, the world sees it. It's Dusnick's. Security moved in around the Caldwells. Reporters crowded closer. Donors whispered fiercely. Disgust painted across their faces. Marisa sobbed. Virginia trembled. Damon seethed. But the room was no longer theirs. Harper exhaled slowly. A quiet calm settling over her. For the first time, she didn't feel like prey. She felt like truth, and truth was powerful. She lifted her chin toward the crowd. I came here tonight to show what really happened. Not for revenge, for protection. For my child. The entire ballroom applauded. But just as Harper stepped back from the microphone, just when victory felt within reach, the ballroom doors burst open. Police officers flooded in. The lead officer held a warrant. He spoke loudly. We have an arrest order for Marisa Caldwell. And one more, Ethan Quinn, you need to come with us immediately. For a moment, the ballroom froze. Music stopped mid-note. Cameras lifted. Whispers rippled like a cold wind. The officers stepped forward, splitting the crowd as they approached the stage. Their boots echoed sharply against the marble, amplifying the tension until it vibrated through Harper's bones. Marisa broke first. What? No, this is a mistake, she cried, stumbling backward as two officers reached for her wrists. You can't arrest me. I'm the victim here, Damon. Tell them. Damon. But Damon had already backed away from her, shaking his head, eyes wide. I don't know anything. She acted alone. Thanks for watching. The officers didn't pause. They snapped handcuffs onto her wrists, her cries cutting through the ballroom as her influencer persona shattered into raw panic. The crowd watched, hungry not for violence, but for justice. Then the lead officer turned to the stage, voice steady but weighted. Mr. Ethan Quinn. You need to come with us. Harper's breath seized. No, she whispered. No, he didn't do anything. Ethan held up a hand gently, stopping her. It's all right. Cole stepped forward. What's the charge? The officer handed him a document. An anonymous tip was filed, claiming financial misconduct. It's likely fabricated, but we still have to take him for questioning. Harper's chest tightened. This wasn't coincidence. This was retaliation. Damon smirked, just barely. Virginia lifted her chin, pride flickering back. Someone had pulled strings, dirty ones. Harper grabbed Ethan's arm. You can't go with them. They're trying to separate us. Damon wants me isolated again. If you do, case, and 2049. Ethan touched her cheek gently. Sweetheart, listen to me. This is temporary. I've faced worse storms than this. Cole scanned the document quickly. This is a joke. A stunt. They're trying to make you leave the gala before the press finishes digesting the evidence. Harper swallowed hard. Then stay. Tell them to come tomorrow. Ethan shook his head. If I refuse, they win. They'll spin this as me evading the law. Harper's eyes glistened. Dad, I just found you. It's of God, and I'm not going anywhere, he said firmly. They can question me for an hour, nothing more. The officer nodded respectfully. We know your record, sir. This won't take long. Harper's voice shook. But I need you. Ethan leaned down, pressing his forehead gently to hers. You don't need me to stand tall, Harper. You already are. He turned to Cole. Stay with her. Don't let her out of your sight. You have my word, Cole said quietly. As Ethan stepped away with the officers, the room shifted. People watched him go, some with pity, some with fear, some with the dawning realization of who the real power in the room had been. Harper felt the world tilt again, but this time, Cole steadied her with a hand on her back. Don't panic, he murmured. This is just their last flailing attempt. Harper forced a breath, trying to quiet the trembling in her chest. They won't stop, not until one of us is destroyed. 2. If cure of love. Cole's eyes met hers calm, unwavering. Then we make sure it isn't you. Damon suddenly charged forward, pointing a shaking finger at Harper. You think a haircut video will ruin us? You think we'll let you embarrass us like this? Security intercepted him, but Damon shoved uselessly against them. You're nothing, a pathetic little nurse with no name and no. Cole stepped directly into Damon's path. Harper had seen Cole angry before, but never like this. His voice was soft, deadly. You're right about one thing. She was a nurse. Cole leaned in. But now, she's Quinn blood, and you just declared war on the wrong dynasty. Damon faltered. Harper lifted her chin. I'm not afraid of you anymore, Damon. He laughed bitterly. You will be. And then, the lights flickered. Someone screamed. A sound like glass shattering echoed from the entrance. Everyone turned as a security guard ran toward Cole. Sir, there's a situation outside. A serious one. Harper's heart dropped. The guard whispered urgently. It's Ethan. He never made it to the police car. Harper felt the world tilt, her breath cutting short as the security guard's words echoed through the ballroom. He never made it to the police car. Her heart stumbled. What do you mean he never made it? Where is he? The guard swallowed. Someone intercepted the officers. A black SUV pulled up, blocked them. Men stepped out, claimed to be federal agents. They took Ethan Quinn. The officers never even got to cuff him. Harper grabbed Cole's arm, panic flooding her voice. They took my father. They took him because of me. Cole steadied her. No. They took him because they're desperate. Virginia, overhearing, allowed a slow, poisonous smile to form. Oh dear, seems money can't protect everyone. Harper's blood went cold. You, she whispered, you arranged this. Virginia lifted a brow. Me, Harper, sweetheart, I'm just a concerned mother-in-law. But powerful men have powerful enemies. Maybe your father should have thought twice before crossing ours. Cole stepped forward, fury simmering. Watch your mouth. Damon barked a laugh. What's wrong, Harper? Daddy couldn't save you fast enough? Harper's stomach twisted, but then something inside her snapped. Not fear, not despair. A deeper instinct. A protective rage she'd never felt before. Cole, she said quietly, take me to whoever is handling security. Now, Damon snorted. What are you gonna do? Cry about it? She turned to him, calm but lethal. No, I'm going to end this. Cole led her swiftly out of the ballroom and into the glass-walled security wing attached to the venue. Screens lined the walls, showing every angle of the gala. Quinn, private intelligence agents, stood in formation. Harper approached the lead officer. Pull the footage from the east entrance. I want to see the SUV. The officer obeyed without question. The screen lit up, a black SUV sliding into view, blocking the police escort. Men in fake federal jackets swarmed. Ethan stepped out calmly, his hands raised. He said something, but no audio feed could reach them. Then he was forced inside. Harper inhaled sharply. That car, that logo, zoom in. A symbol on the back window enlarged slowly. A clean, polished crest. A stylized C. Her heart stopped. Caldwell, Cole whispered. They branded their own kidnapping operation. Harper's hands shook, but her voice didn't. Track the SUV. They won't have gone far. They need leverage. The officers scrambled into action, tapping surveillance networks, cross-referencing plates. Within seconds, a red dot blinked on the map. Warehouse District, one agent said. Private property under Caldwell Holdings. Harper exhaled shakily. Of course. Cole turned to her. We'll get him. One dove. Harper nodded, but something tugged inside her. A memory. A whisper. Her mother's voice. Your father will always come for you. And one day, you'll be strong enough to come for him. Harper straightened. I'm going too. Cole shook his head instantly. Absolutely not. You're pregnant. You just revealed the footage. I'm going, she said with a quiet finality that cut the room still. They took him because of me. He spent 26 years trying to find me. I won't sit here while they hurt him. Cole stared at her, saw the fire in her, and finally nodded. Then, I'm with you. Security mobilized. Vehicles rolled out. Back in the ballroom, Damon grew restless. Where's Harper? Where the hell is she? Virginia hissed. We need to leave. Now, if the police start asking questions. Before she could finish, the ballroom doors slammed open. Another officer stepped inside. Virginia Caldwell, he called. She stiffened. You're being detained for obstruction of justice. Marisa sobbed. Damon cursed. And just as officers moved in, the live feed on the ballroom screens flickered back on switching from the gala cameras to a live drone view over the warehouse district. Cole's voice echoed through the speakers. Harper and I are coming for Ethan, and this time, the Caldwells won't escape. The Quinn convoy sped through the dark warehouse district, engines cutting through the night like blades. Harper sat in the back of the armored SUV, gripping the seatbelt and breathing carefully. Her baby shifted inside her, as if sensing the storm she was driving into. Cole sat beside her, focused, protective, but every now and then he glanced her way. You don't have to be brave right now, he murmured. It's okay to be scared. Harper shook her head. I'm not scared for me. Her voice quivered. I'm scared for him. Up ahead, the warehouse came into view. A skeleton of rusted steel and broken windows, its silhouette sharp against the moonlit sky. Quinn security vehicles formed a perimeter within seconds, surrounding the property like a tightening noose. Stay behind me, Cole instructed as he stepped out. Harper followed, heart pounding, breath turning sharp. The cold air hit her skin like needles. For a moment, the overwhelming feeling threatened to drag her to her knees, fear, rage, grief, all twisting into one unbearable knot. Then she saw him. Through a narrow window, Ethan sat in a chair, hands zip-tied, calm despite the situation. A man paced in front of him, large, tense, wearing a Caldwell-branded jacket. Harper felt her pulse quicken. He's alive, she whispered. Cole signaled the tactical team. We go in fast. No gunfire unless necessary. We extract Ethan first. The breach was swift. A flash grenade. A crash. Shouts. Boots slamming the floor. Harper stood at the entrance, one hand braced on the wall, the other clutching her belly. She wasn't supposed to be inside, she knew that, but her feet wouldn't move. She had to see him with her own eyes. Within seconds, the men inside were pinned down. The kidnapper was forced to the floor, hands restrained. And Ethan, he looked up as Cole cut his ties. He saw Harper. Sweetheart, Ethan breathed, rising shakily to his feet. Harper rushed forward carefully, desperately throwing her arms around him. Her body trembled with a sob she didn't know she'd been holding. I thought I lost you, she cried. Dad, I thought. He held her tight, pressing a kiss to her hair. I'm here. I'm here. Nothing will take me from you again. Cole gave them a moment before stepping forward. Sir, we should get both of you checked, and get Harper somewhere safe. Ethan nodded. Let's go. End quote. As the convoy drove back toward the city, Harper finally felt the weight inside her chest loosen. The baby kicked softly, as if in relief. She placed Ethan's hand over her stomach. "He knows you," she whispered. Ethan's eyes softened. "I should have been here his whole life." "You're here now," she said. Back at the Quinn penthouse, doctors were waiting. Harper lay against velvet pillows as they checked her vitals. Cole stood nearby, arms crossed, refusing to leave the room. Ethan paced with barely restrained worry until the doctor finally spoke. "Mother and baby are stable." Harper exhaled shakily. She leaned back, tears slipping silently. The adrenaline was fading, leaving behind exhaustion, a bone-deep weariness she'd been carrying for months. Cole knelt beside her. "You made it," he said quietly. Harper shook her head. "We made it. All of us." For the first time since the nightmare began, she allowed herself to breathe, really breathe. Her shoulders softened. Her heartbeat slowed. Her mind cleared. But before she could settle fully, Quinn's security burst through the door, breathless. "Harper, Cole, Mr. Quinn, there's something you need to see. Now." Cole stood instantly. "What is it?" The guard hesitated, eyes wide. "It's the Caldwells, all of them. They just held a press conference, and they're blaming Harper for everything." Teened, end quote. Harper stood in the Quinn penthouse living room, staring at the television in disbelief as the Caldwell press conference broadcast across every major network. Damon, Virginia, and even a tear-streaked Marissa crowded around the podium as reporters fired questions. Virginia spoke first, voice smooth but brittle. "We've tried tirelessly to help Harper through her emotional struggles. Today's events were deeply unfortunate, but she has been unstable for months." Harper's stomach hardened like stone. Damon stepped up next, fake sorrow dripping from his voice. "I love my wife, but she's been manipulated by outside influences. We just want her to get help." Harper turned off the TV, quietly, calmly, determined. Cole stepped beside her. "They're losing control." Ethan moved to her other side. "And they know it." But Harper surprised them both. "I want to finish this," she said softly. "Not out of anger, out of truth." She walked to Ethan's desk, pulled out the folder Cole gave her at the gala, and placed it on the table. "The world needs more than recordings," she whispered. "The world needs the full truth." Cole studied her carefully. "You're sure?" Harper nodded. "They hurt me. They tried to rewrite my story. They tried to steal my child. I won't run anymore." End quote. Within the hour, Harper sat in front of a live national broadcast, this time by her choice, on her terms. Cameras focused on her as she rested, one hand on her stomach, and lifted her chin. "My name is Harper Quinn," she began, voice steady. "And for months I've lived in silence. Tonight I'm choosing to speak." She revealed everything. The humiliation, the manipulation, the isolation, the threats, the kidnapping of her father. The room behind the cameras fell silent. Reporters didn't interrupt. They listened, transfixed. When Harper finished, she didn't cry, she didn't shake. She simply looked into the lens and said, "No woman, pregnant or not, deserves to be treated as property or content." Within minutes, the broadcast swept across social media. Hashtags exploded. Influencers spoke out. Women across the country shared their own stories. Donations poured into domestic protection organizations. And then the real storm hit. The FBI raided the Caldwell estate that same night. Marissa was arrested for tax fraud and digital harassment. Virginia was taken into custody for obstruction of justice. Damon was charged with kidnapping, conspiracy, coercion, and assault. Their dynasty collapsed in less than 24 hours. But Harper didn't celebrate with noise. She celebrated with quiet peace. Weeks later, Harper sat in her father's garden, overlooking the coast. The sun warmed her face, the ocean breeze brushing her short hair. Ethan placed a blanket around her shoulders. "You changed everything," he whispered. "I just told the truth," she said. Cole approached from the patio carrying a small box. "Delivery for Harper Quinn." She blinked. "What is it?" He handed it to her, simple, unwrapped. Inside was a tiny silver bracelet engraved with her baby's name, Aiden Quinn. She pressed a hand over her mouth, tears slipping silently. Ethan smiled softly. "A gift for the strongest mother I know." Harper looked at Cole. "Did you pick this?" He nodded. "I wanted him to have something from the person who saved my son 2 years ago." Emotions swelled in her chest. Cole lowered himself beside her. "Harper, I know you've survived hell. And I know you're rebuilding. I'm not asking for anything except the chance to walk beside you. At your pace, wherever that leads. Harper looked at him, really looked at him. The steadiness, the loyalty, the warmth she'd never received from Damon. She took his hand gently. "I'd like that," she whispered. As the sun dipped over the Pacific, Harper rested a hand on her belly, feeling Aiden's soft kick. Her nightmare was over. Her life was beginning. And for the first time, Harper Quinn didn't feel broken. She felt whole. So that's it. Our story gently comes to an end. And you, our wonderful friend, you're still here with us, aren't you? If you're listening right now, it means something in Harper's journey touched your heart in a quiet, personal way. Maybe it reminded you of a moment when you felt small, unheard, or underestimated. Or maybe it showed you that even the softest people can rise again. You know, Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Harper's pain didn't end her, it opened a new path. And Epictetus taught us, you may not control what happens to you, but you can choose how to respond. That's exactly what Harper did. And it's something each of us can carry into our own lives. Life will shake you, people may disappoint you. But strength isn't loud, it's the quiet choice to stand back up, even when no one believes you can. If this story moved you, even just a little, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs courage today, and don't forget to subscribe so you're here with us for the next journey. You matter, your voice matters, and your healing matters.